So Battlefield 6 was announced as well as the trailer that came with it, and I watched it on stream, so I'm going to play you guys some clips from that and like some tidbits from the trailer. I'll also link it down below so you can watch it if you haven't already, but I imagine you have. After that, though, there was this article that I found that I wanted to go over that just goes into more details about like release date, setting of the game, and you know, all that stuff. Yeah, it's police. Yeah, you get to play as like, you get to set up freaking like 32 versus 32 freaking police versus mercenary fight. Also, there's a speed limit sign right here, like at the top. It says 45, and the one like 10 feet behind it says 35, so that kind of sucks.
No country is safe from their reach.
No country is safe from their reach. And to capitalize, to push that point home, let's crash a helicopter through the building that these guys are clearing. I don't even think anybody was in that building.
For all those serving on our behalf, our prayers go with you.
And based on the amount of screams we're hearing right here, that's a lot of prayers. That is a surplus of prayers.
I have a message. It's over.
He says that, the entire mercenary like comms that is like, it's Jover, it's Jover. And then that guy gets a freaking gun tossed to him and it's like, we're so back.
I'm not a mercenary.
There's a lot of this going on. I don't know why that's their punctual point for like all the mercenary shots. They're just like, that's pretty badass. That's our propaganda campaign. Paratroopers guy. It looks a little deserty too. There's like so you got like your regular urban town like California City. There was like this urban deserty town that tank just like pretty much blasted the ears off of all the infantry next to him. Probably overpressured them, which is cool. A lot of choppers crashing. And you know what? I didn't see any fire. That guy very well may have just crashed on his own volition. Like nobody even shot him. That is the third pilot we have seen get shot down or just crash. As a matter of fact, that first Apache one and that crashed at those buildings that those guys were clearing, we didn't see him get shot down either, okay? He just crashed into that thing for all we know. Yo, naval landing. Can you hit people in the head with sledgehammers? The big ass nostrils. Oh, New York. Gotta be. Ew. He got fucked up. I don't know what happened to that guy, but something happened. Something bad. Alright, they got mongooses. I want to see this. Oh, yeah. MC Twanlin. That could be a character in the Drippy Cinematic Universe, the DCU. Actually, no, this guy right here, MC Twanlin. He's the guy leading the charge on the beaches, which is crazy. Because we get D-Day in Battlefield 6, but not in Battlefield 5. Gotta love it. Some more helicopters. One of them's probably going to crash. Seems to be the trend. First, wait, why is there just some random guy with a sledgehammer and some other guy just like there? Where are you? What is happening in the battlefield where that situation occurs?
Take the target for the F-61.
Oh my god! Not the bridge we can rebuild. Oh my god! Why is that guy's face fucked up? I didn't hear. He was just yelling in Irish. Motherfuckers not knowing how numbers work. Carry the 1, pick up the 2, blow up the bridge. Oh my god. That guy was just like, Irish something. And everyone's just like, yeah, I got it. And they just shoot a freaking civilian. Is that another chopper crashing? Another guy being like, all right, let's go. Like, you can't stop telling people to come on. So one thing I actually wanted to talk about that sort of is mentioned in the article that we'll go over a little bit later is the destruction. So like you see how like the helicopters like crash, like how like all the helicopters end up freaking crashing into something at some point. Like 4 helicopters crashed out this whole thing. But there's like a level of destruction where like, yeah, you can like put a tank shell in a house and the house like breaks, but like in other games I feel like when a plane like comes down and crashes into a building, it just blows up and the building is still pretty relatively fine. So like if you can create a gigantic helicopter hull-sized hole in the side of a building, because like you shoot it down and it crashes through and it like exposes a bunch of guys in like this freaking 10-story building or something, that would be so freaking sick. That would add so much to the immersion, I think, with just like extra destruction and stuff that you could do. He is a support medic. I think the operator system is out. I'm not seeing any of that. I don't know if that Battlefield 2042 wasn't the year, but actually the 2042nd game in the series sent from the future, and everybody hated it. You're on your 2042nd game, and it sucks. Also, why are we 2000 like how I don't think Battlefield could go for 2000 games unless they went back to like the Jin dynasty or something like that, and then you did like ancient Chinese ground battles or something like that. And one of the classes was a scheming eunuch. I was gonna say this looks like COD 4 remastered. This looks like, what is it, Crossroad? It sort of looks like that city, and these kind of look like the Marines.
Damn, bro, if I get to try this other map and it's dead, bro.
Hey, look over there. What's over there? Your fat mom. Oh, fuck you. Is that an Abrams? That's like the only tank I know. Oh, that guy's dead. What happened to him? Oh, okay, it was a smoke grenade that he had. Wow, that's a site with a lot of stuff on it. I don't know about y'all or you, but it looks really Call of Duty. Just the UI, the overall like look and feel, just looks really Call of Duty. Which like by itself, I guess isn't necessarily like the worst. Well, I mean, it gives, if you're making a Battlefield game, you don't want it to look like another game.
Objective Charlie.
What is with the... Jesus, what was he shooting? Smoke rounds? Why is it freaking leaving a gigantic trail of smoke? God forbid you shoot at anybody. They'll just fall out right back to where you were.
The enemy is secure Charlie.
Oh. You can drag your homies? That's pretty good. Give him a little stim. Throw your med pack down. Dragging is pretty cool. I don't think you can do that in COD. Probably not. Can't do that in Arma. And I will say, there should be no reason that like quality of life features, like being able to get your homie out of a bad spot by dragging him, should not be added. Of course, like Arma's definitely a lot more like technical, so which is why it's like mainly PC and keyboard and mouse, because there's a lot more buttons and stuff to do. So there is like, yeah, we add these things if you can, sort of, but like don't overwhelm the player with a bunch of like buttons and I guess like combinations of buttons.
We are moving on objective Charlie.
What is with that? Is he okay? Is I think that was a glint.
We are moving on objective Charlie.
Yeah, he's a sniper. But why does that leave a giant freaking smoke trail leading straight back to where you are? Like the glint is supposed to be the giveaway, not like the bullet path directly to where you shot from.
Hostiles now hold objective Echo.
Chicken KD for an alpha.
Objective Bravo neutralized.
Okay. Be cautious about Battlefield 6, dog. Everybody knows about 2042. We know. I mean, being such early like gameplay, I don't really know how hard like you can judge it, but it seems like and the guy didn't really do much in it. It was the smoke trails leading from the gun. That was kind of Yeah, it doesn't really seem like there's a lot going on. I might as well just give like the full thought, but it doesn't really feel very like Battlefield. One of the bigger things of the prospected release date that it says the next Battlefield game, which is called Battlefield 6, was officially unveiled on July 24th and appears to be set for release on October 10th. Prior to the official unveiling, fans were buzzing with excitement on the news that the new Battlefield will seemingly emulate older titles and do away with some of the things that Battlefield 2042 did. Most importantly, the new Battlefield game will not have 128 player matches or specialist characters, two highly criticized elements of Battlefield 2042. 6 brings back the 4 standard classes, and fans are happy about that. There is still a little bit of mix and matching, at least from that very short tidbit of like gameplay that we saw. It was like support, but the medic title was underneath that. So again, I don't know if it's like a subclass and we have like sub-variants of a support, or if it's just like support medic. Like I don't know why you would have to have like 2 different things right there, because he also had an LMG. So is that what makes the support element the support thing, is that he's able to like have a big machine gun and he's also a medic? I'm not really sure. Battlefield 6 is set in the modern day and takes players to New York City amongst other locations, and there's also a welcome change for fans and a change of pace from the latest games that took place in the future and the past. At least 4 studios are handling development on the new Battlefield game under the Battlefield Studios banner, and yes, there will be an open beta. One thing with games is like when they're developed by so many different studios, it's like the cohesion between each thing that they're developing. Can they all like have that shared same like concept and format, so to speak, to make the game cohesive and like look the same on all fronts, even though we have different studios developing it? EA has not confirmed a release date for the next Battlefield, but a report said it could launch as soon as October 2025. That appears to be legitimate, as EA's own website mentions that fans have to pre-order by October 10th to get a special bonus, suggesting October 10th is the launch date. So the open beta, I'm pretty sure, starts on the 31st of July, and October 10th, June, July, August, September, October gives them 2 months in between then and the suspected release date, generally speaking, to roughly 2.5 months, right, to get what they need to get settled and like fixed and take that feedback and actually apply it. So whereas 2042, the early access started on like September 4th, and it was like October. Release date was October 22nd, eventually delayed till November 19th, which was still only 1 month. They're giving themselves more time to get this feedback and come back to it. Even as far as the state 2042 was in, like back when that even came out, it was pretty much doomed from that point anyway, because they weren't expecting to like need that much time or whatever. But it seems like they've listened and learned, and that's good. Of course, Battlefield's trademark destruction is on display in the trailer as well. And that's the stuff I was talking about earlier. Like, if you could, like, just the one thing, like, if you can freaking crash a helicopter through a building and, like, it actually makes a hole, like, that helicopter came through. I don't know how, like, dynamic you can get with that, but, like, you can drive a freaking tank through a building or something like that if it's, like, soft enough to do so. That would be pretty cool as well. But if this is the like level of destruction of like environments that they can take it to, that would be really cool. That would definitely be like a huge step up for that. The trailer offers a first look at Pax Armada, a private military corporation bankrolled by former NATO states whose agenda threatens to throw the world into global conflict, reads a line from the game's description. That is really interesting. Sort of also like in Avengers, like everybody's on the same team, and then there's this divide. Of course, we don't know what that divide is, but they split apart, and then you bring in this private military group funded by all these countries from the separated side, and then you have what remains of NATO, and then they go after it. So that, I think, is a pretty cool concept. And of course, some other things that I saw from the trailer, it had like cutscenes, I believe they were, and it was like dialogue, and you know they were like talking about like call signs and all that stuff, which I think will be a campaign, I imagine, which of course 2042 didn't have. So I think the campaign will definitely set the stage for all of that multiplayer stuff. So we're going to be knowing like why we're fighting, and who we're fighting, and like where and why and all that. But yeah, it's like I like the idea. I like where it's going. I like that there's a campaign. The premise, as far as what we know, seems pretty interesting. As far as everything I've seen, I like it. I'm gonna try to play the open beta myself as well, and probably just like stream it, try it out with all the homies, and see how it goes.